We're ready.
Good morning, everybody. Jeff Taylor here from TechCrunch, and you have joined the webinar in which we'll be talking about the TechCrunch Hackathon coming up September 10th and 11th at Pier 48 in San Francisco. It's great to have you guys here, those of you who are joining live and those of you who will be joining via recording later. We have a couple of things that we're going to try to get through today. And I want to acknowledge and thank our host, Richard Murby, over at Devpost. Devpost is the platform on which we build and against which we execute our hackathon. They've been super partners. The platform is extremely versatile and powerful. And all of you will be taking a look at that platform and doing some things on it. And I'm going to give you some introductory information about the hackathon, and then I'll be turning this over to Richard. Because at the end of the day, what we want is we want to make sure that you guys have an idea of what the schedule looks like for the hack. We want you to understand what it looks like to get onto the Devpost wiki, how you execute best practices against this, and I can't stress that enough. Successful hackathons, particularly for sponsors, are predicated upon using the Devpost wiki really well, doing reach out, getting your SDKs and APIs posted, and it will help you to generate great ground traffic and to make sure that you've got the largest number of hackers working against your equipment. So, how does the hackathon work? So on Saturday, September 10th, we're going to look forward to seeing all of our sponsors around 10 a.m. at Pier 48. Pier 48 is right next to the AT&T ballpark. It's really easy to find. Saturday mornings are generally quiet, so please plan to show up at 10 o'clock, and that's when our sponsor load-in will begin. You'll walk in the front doors. There'll be several TechCrunch staff there that'll be walking you to your spaces. You'll be getting set up at a leisurely pace. And what will happen is sometime between then and 12:30, hackers will start lining up at the front door. And then at 12:30, we will open the doors to the hackers, and they are going to come flooding in. Most of them have been standing in line for a while, so they're looking forward to finding their tables. They're looking for restrooms. They're looking for coffee. They are ready to rock. So they're going to come in. They're going to be finding their seats. They're going to be getting their teams together. They're going to be getting their stuff set up. And so between 12:30 and 1:30, you know, if you want to have some conversations with them, if they're stopping by your tables, you can talk to them about what's going on with your APIs, projects you find interesting, particular kinds of coding help, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At 1:30, all of our partner level sponsors, and you know who you are going to be coming to the podium where we'll have a microphone for the lightning round. Again, that's at 1:30. And what the lightning round is, it is a lightning approach to who are you and what are you doing. So we will put you in alphabetical order. One by one, we will hand you a microphone, which is all you get. There's no AV. And you will have 30 seconds to tell everybody in the room who you are, why your APIs are interesting, what people will be hacking against, and at the end of that 30 seconds, we will take the mic from you gently or forcefully to pass to the next person. At 2 o'clock, we're going to be starting our API workshops. And our API workshops are specifically designed for giving coders and giving hackers some extra information about how to work with your APIs and your SDKs, specific use cases, coding samples, et cetera, and you'll have 30 minutes with AV support to deliver that education. These are invitation only, but if you are interested in being invited, please feel free to reach out to me, and you can find me at jtaylor@techcrunch.com. So at this point, you know, between the lightning round and the API workshops, all of the hackers are starting to get to work on their ideas for what it is they're trying to do. You'll have some engineering help at your tables, of course. You'll have some marketing help at your tables, so that as people come walking up to ask you questions about how your things work, you'll be able to give them some good guidance and some good instruction, and the coding will be ongoing in a fairly serious way. At 7 o'clock, 7 p.m., we will serve dinner. We'll have steam tables up. Everybody will line up and walk to the steam tables and to begin stuffing themselves. We generally have snacks out throughout. We've generally got coffee up throughout, and the night will be on. Now, most of our sponsors will do some kind of a shift change at 10 p.m. Other sponsors, 10, 11, 12, will start going home. It depends on the level of complexity that you guys bring into the room as to whether you'll plan to staff overnight with engineering help or not. However, don't forget, if you go home, make sure to leave contact information. Because if a hacker needs help with your code, if they get stuck, you really want to be available because it will help accelerate the quality of the projects that go into the finals on Sunday. On Sunday morning at 7 a.m., breakfast will be served. And by 9 o'clock or so, some of the hackers are starting to wind down, and we'll start making announcements about making sure that everybody gets their hacks submitted to our servers. Because at 9:30, it is a hard cutoff. We will not take anybody at 9:30 and 5 seconds. We are shutting it down. So make sure and tell the hackers they have to have their hacks submitted by 9:30. We'll be doing the same. And so around 9:30, everything will start slowing down. At 9:30, we will get all of the hacks into our editorial review. And we review for a couple of things. We review to make sure that there's no inappropriate content. We make sure that we're reviewing for content that might have been started before the hackathon, because we do want to make sure that all of the content is original. Also at 9:30, we're starting to boot everybody out because we want to get them into our general session, our main stage room, so that we can get the floor flipped for sponsor move-in later on Sunday afternoon for the conference that starts on Monday. By 10:30, and this is really important, guys, and we need your help with this in a big way, we need all of you broken down by 10:30. If you're staying for the conference on Monday, you can stack your stuff on top of your table and we'll get it to your new spot for you. If you're not going to be joining us for the conference, please plan to have everything broken down, packed, and on the way out the door by that time. So at 11 a.m. in our general session room at the main stage area, the hackathon presentations will begin. Every team that submits to the hack will get 30 seconds on stage with AV support, live streamed, to present their hack. Our live stream audiences range depending on how interesting it gets, but we've seen them range as large as 40 and 50,000 people that are watching that presentation go on. It's open to the public, so please feel free to invite your friends, relatives, coworkers, and colleagues, because we're always eager to have lots of live bodies in the room. So if you're a contest sponsor, if you have a custom contest at the hackathon, when the hacks are getting ready to end, somewhere around 2:30 or 3, you will want to wander towards the backstage area. Please watch the time and be there, because it makes it difficult if we have to go chase you down. So by 2:30 or 3, custom contest people, please come to the back of the room. And that time varies depending on the number of submissions that we've gotten. And our submissions will range from 100, 110 to a high of 130, 140. So it can get fairly dense out there. So if you have questions, you can reach out to Richard, you can reach out to me. Again, I'm Jay Taylor at techcrunch.com. We're really pleased to be working with all of you. And with that, I will turn the camera back over to Richard to talk about Devpost. And Richard, thank you again for joining us. It's always such a pleasure to get to be on the Devpost platform.
Yeah, not a problem, Jeff. Thanks for all the kind words. Hi, everyone. So Richard from Devpost here. And my contribution today is I'm going to try and give you a little refresher on sponsoring hackathons. So I know that many people have sponsored many different events and are super successful in this, but I think it's always good to look back and kind of review some of the best practices that we see across all these different events and how you can use those to really kind of get the most out of your sponsorship of Disrupt and be as effective as possible. So I'm going to share my screen right now and show you just a few slides. So bear with me 2 seconds here. Jeff, are you seeing my screen now? Should be seeing my slides.
Yes, I do. Sponsoring hackathons. You're
Perfect.
Up and live.
I even launched the right slide deck, so that's a good sign. Okay, so by way of introductions, my name is Richard Murphy. I'm the head of hackathons here at Devpost. This is kind of where you'll find me on a typical weekend. I do a lot of hackathons. Devpost has been used by over 1,500 different events, so we definitely get to see a lot of great hackathons all around the world. So really excited to kind of share what we've learned about this with you all. Just a kind of key thing to be aware of, this is the link to the Devpost site that we'll be using in September in San Francisco. It is live right now, so I would encourage everyone who isn't to go to this page and make sure they're registered on the site. Being registered on this will enable you to do a number of things that we're going to talk about today, but most importantly, it means you'll get all of the updates as more information is added and as we kind of increase the cadence of that running up to Disrupt. So just some kind of quick points on what we're going to do today. I'm going to cover a few different things to do. Stuff you should be doing right now prior to the hackathon, some recommendations of things to do during the hackathon, and then some things to do after the hackathon to ensure that it's as effective as possible for you. I'll also be covering things to do on the Devpost platform and things to do off it. So let me start by just kind of introducing Devpost to you all. So Devpost is the platform for hackathons and hackers. We provide a web platform that's used to power both in-person and online events. Our platform focuses on really showcasing and displaying the projects that hackers build. So it's all about kind of being that place where you can share the project, people can get feedback. We're also increasingly helping companies hire new developer talent. So if you're looking to hire new developers in the Europe region, please follow up with me after the call and I'd be happy to kind of talk through that. And obviously we've powered over 1,500 hackathons and we have a community approaching 500,000 at this moment. So that's enough about us. Let's talk about hackathons. So let's start off with the stuff that you should be doing right now. This is our kind of pre-event area. So this is an example of the Devpost platform. And two things on here that I really want to draw your attention to as part of your pre-event setup. Firstly, the prizes. So if you are a custom contest sponsor, please make sure that Jeff and his team gets your contest information as quickly as possible. We like to make one big announcement with all the prizes. It's announced as a post on TechCrunch.com. So that gets a lot of attention. Please make sure that information is correct. And when you're in the few days running up to the event, once this is announced, please double check the Devpost site and make sure the information is correct on there as well. If it's not correct, please let Jeff and I know and we can make sure that all that's set up properly for you. The second area I want to bring your attention to is the discussion forums. The discussion forums is one of the key areas where people engage on the Disrupt platform, kind of be in the run-up to the hackathon. So this is what the kind of discussion forums look like. And what Tim has done here, and I'm not sure if Tim is actually on this call with us, but great if he is, but Tim, as an evangelist for Nexmo, he's actually gone on to the discussion forums and created a thread about their API. So he's kind of included there a link to the docs. He's allowed people to then comment and respond and contact him. So it's a really great way to start building that engagement and getting more contact points with the developers. So I would encourage everyone to go and start that forum just as a way of really kind of kicking off your interaction here. Another area of the site that you might be interested in taking a look at is the Participants tab. The Participants tab is the list of everyone who's taking part in the hackathon. You can see other hackathons they've gone to, the technologies they're interested in. You can even follow them if they're developers that you want to keep updated on the things that they've built. So I would definitely encourage you, as that starts to fill up with more people getting registered and coming to the hackathon, I would totally encourage you to check this out because it really gives you a great idea of like, who are these amazingly talented engineers that are coming to Disrupt. We'll also be posting updates. Updates are a way that we can put a message on the Devpost site and have it sent out to everyone who's taking part. The TechCrunch team and myself will work together to kind of get these out for you. They're just one of the other ways that we use to kind of promote your offerings and your APIs and your custom prizes to the developers who are taking part. Another thing that's available for you is our Devpost Tag Gallery Analytics. So what this provides you is exactly the same information that's available on the public site, but in a much more data-driven format. So these pages are provided completely free of charge. Just please reach out to hackathons@devpost.com if you're not set up and would like to be. And what it enables you to do is see who are the hackers that are using your APIs, what are the projects they're building, and what are the events that they're making these hackathon projects at. So if you're not already set up on the tag galleries, please just let me know and we'll make sure that you're set up. And again, this is a service that's provided to you completely for free by Devpost. So please let me know if you're interested in that. So let's now talk about some of the things that we might want to do off Devpost in the run-up to the event. So as I mentioned, use the participants tab, check out who's attending, engage in the discussions and AMAs on the discussion forums. Make sure your prize and API details are online and that they're correct. Let Jeff and I know if they're not. And then get set up to the metrics dashboard. Just email hackathons@devpost.com for that. So here are now some ideas of things that you can do in preparation of the event that are off the Devpost platform. So the first thing I always recommend you do is take this time to fix up the development documentation on your site. I know this is the thing that always gets updated last, and it's a bit of a chore for many people, but now is the right time to do it. I'm pretty sure that most people have added a new endpoint or added some new data to their offerings, and the docs haven't been updated since, so developers are going to be relying on that at Disrupt to build, so please make sure that you take the time to update that. Think of a really great prize if you're giving a custom, you're doing a custom challenge. And I think that really the best prizes are not just cash prizes, but it's prizes that give hackers the kind of validation and opportunity to make more. To give you a really practical example of that, I ran a hackathon that was about biometric information last summer. And the prize that we came up with, and I'm really proud of this, was actually a full medical sensor kit that connected to an Arduino. So it wasn't actually prohibitively expensive. It was only around $1,000. But it was a great prize to give to a hacker that was interested in that, because it was something they probably wouldn't buy themselves, but it was really cool and interesting, and also gave them the opportunity to collect more data for their apps. So I definitely encourage you to try and think about prizes along those lines. Another thing that I would encourage you to do is work with everyone who's part of your team who's coming to the event to really kind of review the why of your hacker pitch. So why should a developer care about using your API? What is it going to do that enables them to be more successful? So everyone that you send to the event should really be super comfortable talking about that. So I would encourage you to really spend some time on that area. Okay, we're going to move along to the during the hackathon section. So this is kind of really everything that we suggest you focus on during the event. Most of these things are off Devpost. The reason being is that your attention should be in the room with the developers themselves. So obviously keep an eye on the discussion forums. Make sure that you're responding to anyone there. Some developers might not know quite where your booth is, or they may not be comfortable coming over to talk. So please do check out the discussion forums and make sure you'll be responsive to any questions in there. Also check out the submissions gallery. So as Jeff mentioned, once all the projects are uploaded to Devpost, there will be a period of moderation performed by the TechCrunch editorial team. And then once they've checked that all of the projects are A-OK, we will publish the submissions gallery. That's when you'll be able to see all of the projects, and you'll be able to see what everyone has built. Take a note here of the sponsor prizes. If you're providing a custom challenge, then what you need to do is go onto this page. You can tick off your challenge, and it will filter down the projects just to people that are applying for your prize. We're also going to give you this information in another format before the teams go on stage, but always a good idea to just take a look there and start familiarizing yourself with the people that are available. Okay, so let's focus then on some best practices of things that you can do off the Devpost site during the hackathon. So this is kind of the most important message I can give you, which is focus on helping the hackers solve their problems at the event. you will win so much more mindshare and so much more love from developers by helping them solve a hosting issue or a JavaScript array problem than you will just by representing your API. So really send the best technical people that you have and encourage them to just help developers with their issues. That's definitely the best way of kind of getting people to really think well of you and be involved in your technologies. One of the things I would say that is probably the mistake I see most often at hackathons is companies will come, they'll have a beautiful booth, and then all of their team just kind of camps out in the booth and is just kind of having a really good time with each other. And that's not really what you want to do. The focus of the booth is to enable hackers to come and find you. So make sure that you're both able to kind of get out and be on the floor and interact with hackers. If they come looking for help, go with them to their team and help them with their team. And also make sure that in terms of the way that your team and your company behaves, make sure that they're creating a really welcoming environment for hackers at the booth. So, a big group of your employees kind of sat behind the booth, just kind of goofing off with each other. That's not really focusing on helping hackers. So I would definitely encourage you to think of it in that way. Now, I know that Jeff mentioned this before, but again, think about staffing the event in terms of when are hackers likely to need your assistance. So at kind of 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, that's not the most critical phase of development for most of the hackers, but 4 a.m. Sunday morning likely is. So try and think in terms of people are building through the night to kind of get their projects done. What you really want to do is make sure that you're able to be available to help them when they're likely to encounter the problem. So definitely try and think about that. I would say it's definitely a best practice to kind of keep some level of staffing through the night. But if you do have to leave, make sure that you're contactable and make sure that you're able to be super responsive to that. The reason being is if a developer has a problem using your API at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're unlikely to wait until 7 a.m. when you get back to them and respond. They'll just stop using it and find a different way of solving their problem. So do try and make sure about that. Okay, so this is kind of, in my sense, like what it's all about, right? We're trying to create environments where loads of people are really passionate and sharing their projects and kind of connecting with each other. So I always like to show this picture because to me, this really, encapsulates everything that is a great hackathon. And there's a lot of energy, a lot of people building stuff, a lot of people sharing what they're making. So let's assume that you followed all of these tips in kind of parts before and during the event. You're going to be in a great place now post-event. The key is there's a few quick things you can do to follow up and make sure that you get the most out of the kind of final elements of the hackathon. So key thing is share the submissions. So if you're kind of on your blogs, on your social accounts, share the projects that were built, send them around internally in your company. Developers love feedback. They love the idea that people are taking notice of what they've made. So really kind of make sure you do that. You can see the individual projects. They have the ability to leave comments and like them. You can also follow individual developers. That's just a great way to stay engaged with what they do next. The advantage of liking or commenting on a project as well on Devpost is that you'll get notified if the hackers make any updates to it. So if they keep working, you'll be able to see that. Also, remember to go back and look at the analytics. So if you're set up on the dashboard, you'll see the latest data from Disrupt. That might be really helpful for your internal reporting purposes. So do go back and check that. So some tips as well to do things off the Devpost site after the event. Obviously, make sure you're blogging and sharing the prizes as widely as possible. And on prizes, the best way to kind of lose all of that good feeling that you created with the hacker community is to be slow in distributing the prizes. So I know everyone's super tired after the hackathon and after Disrupt, but really make the effort to get those prizes out quickly. Ideally, you want to be able to give the prizes to the developers at the hackathon. If you're not able to, make sure that's top priority Monday morning is get them these prizes. So that's kind of the basics of everything I wanted to talk about. You feel free to reach out to me directly. My email address is richard@devpost. I'm on Twitter at FWDmedia. But we also, as well, have the Q&A application enabled. So I think that, Jeff and I would be happy to take any questions you have if you want to kind of type them into the box there, and we'll have a look.
While we're waiting on questions, I want to point out a couple of things you said, Richard, that I think are so well done. The first thing is that the overnight support is absolutely critical. If a hacker gets stuck, you have to find a way to be available to them. You want these hacks to be top quality and top notch. And we're going to put 800 world-class hackers in the room and at your disposal. Second thing, and this is an idea that might be helpful to you. Start reaching out now across your social, across your email channels, on your Facebook, and tell people you're going to be at the hackathon and what kind of an API you're going to be presenting. And start getting the word out there now, so you start getting some traction around some of the things that hackers might want to be doing with you. And then the third thing that I kind of wanted to point at is that having enough engineering support on site is absolutely critical. I've seen sponsors bring 2 marketing folks and 1 engineer, and the engineer gets overwhelmed and the marketing folks can't handle technical questions, and it ends up becoming challenging for the hackers. So make yourselves easy to work with as you possibly can. Also, when the hackers register on Devpost, oh yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think that's actually a fantastic point you just made. And from a hacker's perspective, you're at a hackathon. We're going to assume you're technical. So I think it's a really good idea. Send as many technical people as possible. Hackers will assume you're technical. So do your best to be helpful.
Yes. No. Absolutely. And then the third thing that I was going to point out was something that was really good, and I can't quite remember what it was now. It was going to be, hackers will register on the site and put their contact information up on Devpost. Please feel free to reach out to them and tell them what you're doing and what's interesting about that, so that you're dragging as much attention to your API as you possibly can. It never hurts to reach out and be proactive in developing relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jeff, we had a question submitted. I think this will be one for you on the schedule, but let me just kind of read it out and we'll make sure that we get this answered. So what time can we expect to be done giving away prizes? Our sponsor wants to know that they can book their outbound travel successfully.
Sure. So the moving part here is the number of submissions that we get. We have had years where we've gotten as many as 130, 135 submissions, which, we start trying to figure out how to suck the air out of the finals so we can get those presentations moving crisply. Our intent, and it's an intent that we carry fairly deeply, is to be done by 3 p.m. So the other part is if you are not presenting a custom contest, you can leave anytime you wish. There's nothing that's going to hold you there. But for people who are presenting a custom contest at the end of the hackathon finals, our goal is to be done by 3, and we want our custom contest folks to be heading towards backstage between 2:30 and 3, please.
Great. Does anyone else have any other questions for us right now? I think if not, maybe what we'll do is wrap this up. This link will be available on YouTube. I'm sure Jeff will send it around so that people can access it. I'll share it with colleagues who weren't able to join. Obviously, feel free, like my friend Mark just did, to reach out to me directly if there is anything that we can help with, or we can help you get set up. Yes. Otherwise, Jeff, thanks always for your partnership on this. We're looking forward to hanging out in September and seeing what people build.
Thanks so much, Richard. We're always so pleased to get to work with Devpost, and we're grateful for your help.
Okay, thanks a lot, everyone, and thanks, Jeff.
Bye.